There's this video is to explain this post and this project in which you're going to use AutoCAD to build the design and then build the bridge and then break a bridge and then weigh the bridge and weigh how much it takes to break it, all to figure out how efficient the bridge is. Really, if you think about it, it's pretty simple. If you take how much it weighs, if you design something and build it, how much it weighs is how many materials you've used to build it. So the heavier it is, the more expensive it is. So if you compare how much it weighs to how much it can hold, you're going to figure out how efficient the design is. So this is not build the biggest, strongest possible bridge. It's about building the cleanest, nicest design that holds the most weight and keeps it cheap and simple. So you got to keep that in mind right up front. All right. So anyway, moving over to AutoCAD here, this is what it looks like when you actually design this project. Either here, you can see it's labeled in one picture, but this is what the design looks like. You have a 15-inch long, and this will be the same for everybody. You might as well note that up front. 15 inches long, 3 inches tall, and then you're going to design the internals of it, keeping in mind the construction has to be mapped out here before you actually build on top of it. What's going to happen is you'll design this thing, cover it in wax paper, and then build with wood, laying the wood over the top of this and glue it up right on top of wax paper over this design. And then you'll peel the wood off of the wax paper, provided some glue is definitely going to get onto it. But one mistake that I've seen people make is just gluing a pile of glue right over the top of everything and hoping it's going to peel off the wax paper. No, it's not meant for that. If you get a little bit on there, you can pop it off. If you puddle the glue over the top of all this when you're building it, you're going to have wax paper and junk all over your design, which is actually what this other photo is all about. This, if you really took a closer look at it, has glue all over it, and that's an okay job, but some people took pictures of just wads of glue. Anyway, that's just for my students specifically doing this project, and enough with that. The design is going to start off with just clicking new design, like you would start off any other new design. Not starting off with a standard title block, because you're going to draw a bigger block size to fit on. This is going to get printed on an 11 by 17 page. Again, this is, if you look at this, it's a 15-inch long, 3-inch tall bridge wall, and you're going to build 2 of them on a piece of paper that's covered in wax paper. So you're going to print this actual sheet size out. So it's all going to be exactly mathematically right. The outside border of this is going to be 16 inches long, 10 inches tall to fit everything else here. So when you go to your new drawing, you're going to start off with a line going to the right 16 inches, vertically 10 inches, back 16. Click on the last endpoint there. You can always use the C button on the keyboard to close it, which it tells you in the command line down here. Offset this tool. Click it 3 times. It's going to start doing the offset. And you see that number, you're going to type in a 0.5 for the offset. It's a 1/2 inch offset. I want your text to be in here at 4/10 of an inch. It's actually, but it's just because of the way the text tool works. If you click text, pull a text box out anywhere, this is going to default 0.2 inches. I'm going to type in 0.4 and then type in your name and the period. At least, if best case scenario, you should type in the date as well. Then click it, click rotate, click it one more time. Should rotate easily. Click it when it's vertical. Hit the escape key and you can just click on the text and grab it by the dot and move it into position. Remember, the closer you zoom in with text, the better the positioning. Mine keeps snapping to a corner point like this, and then I have to move it back for some reason. You just want to lay it as centered as you can. You don't have to get crazy about it. But okay, the next thing is you're doing 2 bridge walls on this size page. So you're going to split this page in half with a line. This is when you want to, if you haven't done this in a while, is double check to make sure all these check marks are on in your object snap menu. For anybody that's just picking this video up online randomly, these object snaps are going to determine how you can do things like this, where you hover over the midpoint of a line and draw another line, and it sees it and snaps to those things like midpoint of a line. Super important. You also need that when you draw a diagonal line through the openings here. I'm going to do this again. I think something I want to mention is just using shortcuts. If you hit L and enter, it turns the line tool on. My students, best case, you start using that. So what we do is we use, well, if I were drawing another line here, it would pick up the midpoint of this. That is the dead center of this opening. And now I have 2 of those. I'm going to lay out a bridge wall now over here. Check this out. Again, hit L, enter. Whoop. Then just do that over here. Turn on a line tool. I'm going to draw a 15-inch line, 3-inch vertical line. This is the outside of the bridge wall. Again, 15 back the other way and down. If you notice in this menu, if this is C close, if you are getting close to closing off a polygon, or in this case just a rectangle, if you hit C and enter, it closes it. Now what we want to do is make sure that this angle snap, polar tracking it's called, which is polar meaning angular. This is going to snap at 45-degree angles whenever a line is close to that. And I need my bridge end posts here to be at 45. So as soon as I start getting close to a 45-degree angle going back this way, click escape to end that. Again, I'm going to hit L and enter to turn the line on back. Again, go to 45 degrees, click on that top point there, hit escape. And then what I want to do is trim away what I don't need. And what we should do is 1/8 inch offset these lines going inward. This is all the outside dimensioning that I want. This is 15 inches long. These are 45-degree angles going up from the endpoints of that 15-inch line, which is going to make this line whatever it ends up being, because I want these 45-degree angles. And now I'm going to offset these inward 1/8 of an inch using the offset tool. If this menu doesn't come on, your F12 key on your keyboard, it's very important that you have this menu on so you can type in the distance that you need, which is 1/8 of an inch, 1/8. Specify offset distance, and then you click 2, 3 times. Oop, it's not coming up. 1/8, enter. Now they should all do this for some reason. /8, enter. My computer is not doing it exactly how I want. 1/8, enter. No big deal. Sometimes things happen. 1/8. Again, it's 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch. It's not a perfect situation here with my offset, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. I'm going to trim away what I don't need. Not a terrible. You can just draw through these. See, really, I didn't want to do this way. It's kind of silly. Anyway, what I'm going to do is just put lines back in here where I want you to have them. The bottom and top chord, when you're doing this design, escape. This is really important. Unfortunately, I made a little mistake, but if you hit L and then enter and turn the line tool on and just make little horizontal lines to connect these points, then hit escape when you're done, it's really not a terrible practice to learn. L, enter. explain in a second why this is critical. You can also turn the line on here and do this way if need be, provided all your settings are right. What you are looking for is a design that is construction wise correct, and the top and bottom pieces, which have specific names, the cord, which is the top piece, and the deck on the bottom piece. If you look at this example, this is what I'm talking about. They're not cut. They run full length to the end. The end post runs into the cord and down to the deck. And this is a full length part without any cuts or anything in it. That makes the best construction job. And this is actually inverted. If you look at this next design, there's actually a V shape going from the center out. And what you can see is there's double lines here that are easier to put in using another tool. As soon as I show you that, and you'll see what I mean. There we go. All right, so back to the project picture real quick. What we've done so far is just taken this 1/8 inch wood and made this border line to lay it on and glue it up. So you have to understand that's what's going on here is you're actually making the exact spacing that you're going to put wax paper over the top of the print and then glue up this as you go. So it's important to understand that this design is going to end up being your actual layout pattern. So top and bottom pieces are full length. Now what we want is one down directly. We're going to start splitting this thing in half. We're going to split it in half again, and so on. So watch this. There's this great tool called multi-line, ML enter. If you type those letters, ML enter, it's going to give you the ability to make these lines just by taking and clicking the scale tool, saying 1/8 of an inch apart. And it's going to make sets of double lines for you. Justification, start off, just click 0 and watch what happens. Go over the center of the top, click, go to the bottom, make sure you're over the midpoints, click, and hit escape. It's going to make 1/8 inch parallel lines as you go. We'll go to the left side and right side. Watch this. There's ML. There's 3 ways you can do it. You can go to top, 0, and bottom. I just did a 0. Top and the bottom would be easy to figure out if this was actually a horizontal line. But since I'm making vertical lines, you got to guess. Or not, because I'm going to tell you right now. If you click bottom on the left side and go to this point and downward to the bottom and then hit escape, it's going to draw the 1/8 inch parallel lines exactly where you want. The left side starting in that corner. Now I'm going to go over to the right side, type in ML. You want to go to justification, and when you're on the right side, you're going to click top for the justification, which is going to make the right side or the top as you draw that. Hit escape. Okay, so I've got those layouts. This is important because what we're going to do is cut these pieces of wood and put them in here on top of this design and let them glue up and make sure that you're building this the right way, using this as your pattern. So you want this exactly the right way, including the cuts and where the cuts go. All right, now you want 2 more posts in the center here. You're going to find the center by using a line going diagonally with your snaps on the middle of that line. Again, this is going to be the midpoint here. So what I'll do is then type in ML, enter again. I'm going to go to my justification and use my midpoint or 0 justification and the midpoint of this line to go vertically now up to the top through the midpoint, the diagonal line to the bottom, hit escape. All right, I'll do that one more time over here. Take a diagonal line, use the diagonal line to find the middle of this space from left to right, because directly above that over here is your midpoint. Type in ML, enter, go right above this, escape. Okay, so we use these diagonals to find the middle of that space from left to right. Now we can delete these. Okay. Last thing with layout is putting triangular pieces in. Don't need to draw in the exact double lines for this, and I'll explain it to my students when we're doing construction later, but watch, we're going to do the design like this, where it goes in, basically starts a V in the middle, and then it goes up and out from the middle. So just to give you a quick visual of what I'm doing here, I'm just drawing lines from corner to corner on the insides, and I'll explain the building of that after. What I'd like you to start doing is just hit L and enter to turn the line tool on. Hit the escape key to finish it. L, enter. Using CAD shortcuts, escape. All right, so what you'll do is first make a copy of this by, if you click on one side, let go and click on the other. Don't drag across it. Click on one side, let go, and click on the other. Very important. Some people don't catch that. Then go to move and then go over. This is the midline. If you go between these two triangles, it's going to give you a X. When you click, when you see the X, it'll pick it up at the X. I made a mistake. I want to select that and then copy and then click on it in the middle, and then it'll make a copy to paste just by clicking it, and then hit escape first. I was about to move it in position. You want to make a copy of this thing first. My apologies. Click on the one side of it and then the other side of it. Click move now, and you can put it in position by, again, go over these two midpoints of those lines. You'll get an X from the midpoint of that object, and you put it over the midpoint of this triangle line and get the middle of that diagonal line. Same thing. Click on one side, click on the other, click move. Zoom out, zoom in. Whoa. Get that. Center it up. Hit the escape key, and then click on this line. That was just for construction purposes. Delete it. Click on this line, hit delete. And those are overall measurements. If you want to actually get a little fancy here and make sure that your stuff is exactly right, just click on these lines. You can click on the bottom, the very top. Whoop. Dimension from the top to the very bottom. Make sure it's 3 by 15. You can leave those measurements on your drawing if you want. That's actually going to trim it off if I leave it there. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to print everything out to the outsides of this. So very important, when you go to print this, you're going to click print. You're going to change the printer name to, there's going to not be this list. You'll see a different list in the computer lab. It's going to start off with 3. You're going to have to click more options to see a big long list and look for the E03, my room number, E03 printers. There's 2 of them. The 5225 is the printer you're sending the job to. You're going to have to, once you choose the printer, you choose the paper size, which is going to be 11 by 17. Maybe different order of numbers, but still 11 by 17. Then change what it says here to extents. When you do that, I didn't select the plot device. But when you do that, it's going to fit everything on the page to the printer that it's supposed to print to. Hit OK and print, and you're good to go. You'll print this up. It's going to have your name onto it. It's again, you're going to take it, put it on a board, tape it down to the board, wax paper over that, tape over it, then build this design. Talk to you later. Close this. See you soon.